Speedruns are really awesome, but what if 2 of them? The idea of a multiplayer speedrun is pretty self-explanatory. 1 game, 2 players go fast, right? And yeah, it is all those 3 things.
And a secret impossible step, we have to make friends first.
But cooperative speedrunning exists in a plethora of different forms. Everything from actual multiplayer games to modded co-op in single-player games to whatever the hell the Mario Odyssey speedrunners are doing. More on that later. And while they have a slightly higher bar of entry, again, you need to have friends, multiplayer speedruns provide an additional layer of strategy and complexity to the mix, introducing new strategies that depend upon interacting with your partner, using branching routes where each player is acting independently, and oh god, when do you find the time to practice? I've been fascinated by multiplayer speedruns for ages, but have never really gotten the opportunity to dive into the topic before. In this video, I'll be covering a handful or so popular multiplayer speedruns, and why they're worth paying attention to. There are so many different wonderful runs that were recommended to me when I asked you on Twitter, but for this video, I think I'll stick to one example of each type, starting with my own personal speed game, Hollow Knight. Now, as you might know, Hollow Knight is a pretty cool game. Don't believe me?
Hollow Knight is a very cool video game.
Thanks, Fireborn. But as cool as it might be, there's usually only space for one little bundle of murderous void in Hallownest. However, due to the diligent work of the game's modding community, there's a wonderful and well-realized multiplayer mod, one that has spawned a massive swath of adaptations of classic party games, everything from tag, hide and seek, GeoGuessr, bingo, and so on. HKMP, along with item sync mods that allow you to share progression between players, also allows us to delve into the world of multiplayer runs. Because of Hollow Knight's Metroidvania world design, the simple matter of having 2 or more players changes a lot of things. Across most Hollow Knight runs, a sort of anchor point route structure ends up establishing itself, because it's the most efficient way of traveling most of the time. What I mean by this is that we quote-unquote anchor ourselves at a bench or other hard save point, branch off to whatever item or boss we need next, and then quit back out to the bench to optimize travel times. If you bring a friend, each player can bite off one of the branches simultaneously, and basically cut out a solid third of the runtime. For example, let's imagine you've crossed the Blue Lake and entered the resting grounds. Here, one player could go up and get Dreamnail, while the other person books it straight for City to get Lurian. It becomes even more interesting when you factor in player interactivity. Because of the way the game is programmed, the knight's attacks, such as the nail or even spells, count as pogoable hitboxes. Something that can be used for some pretty cool skips, even in the vanilla form of the game. Take, for example, the slope wall or the shriek pogo here. Both of these strats depend on you pogoing your own projectile to gain height. Unfortunately, these skips are usually quite limited in use. In multiplayer mod, however, all you need to do is have your friend slash upwards, then you jump and pogo their nail to get free height. Fun fact, if you get enough people and everyone jumps and spams down slash, you can fly upwards indefinitely together. It's fantastic. Alright, ready? And go! Yes! Wait, we had it, we had it.
I know!
Go, 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 go,
Go,
go,
go, go, go! Yes! Oh, I almost fell. I made it. Win!
This isn't exactly feasible in like a practical situation, but however, in a practical setting with 2 people, this could, for example, allow one player to enter Fungal Waste's item lists. And given that horizontal and vertical movement are such a big block in early game map progression, any sort of sequence break could usually go quite a long way. This is especially useful when it allows one person to be sent forward, leaving the other one to get items and abilities while you fight bosses early. Now, my personal favorite theoretical multiplayer Hollow Knight speedrun is by far the 112% all Pantheon bosses 2-player run. 112 is my main speedrun, and because of my obscene time spent running it, I have quite an in-depth understanding of the complicated, multiple hour-long route. With a second player, you could not only cut the quote-unquote cleaning out areas collectathon aspect of the run in half, where, for example, one person could do the second pass through Green Path, while another one does Cliffs, or, for example, one does the late game cleanup, while the other one is busy with the Colosseum of Fools. My very favorite idea, by far, however, would be Pantheons, though. Due to synchronized progression, one player could go full-on YOLO Fury of the Fallen mode in there, while the other one rushes around Hellenest collecting lifeblood cocoons to sustain their friends berserking, providing a relatively safe speed boost to the 40-minute long boss gauntlet at the end. The possibilities are quite endless when you have a second player involved. Now, I haven't actually routed any of these myself, and the Hollow Knight multiplayer speedrunning scene has largely been left unexplored until now. But I'd love to one day take a crack at the multiplayer 112 run. Maybe I'll sit down with one of the other top runners and grind one out at some point if people want to see that. I don't know, could be interesting. However, this all isn't to say that it hasn't been explored before. I'd like to refer you to Exhibit C, Yarlik's 2-player Happy Couple tool-assisted speedrun. And honestly, this might just be Yarlik's most impressive task yet. 2 perfectly tuned tool-assisted speedruns running simultaneously through a pretty long sporadic route with insane attention to detail and optimization, impressively cutting the runtime of the category in half. If you'd like to see what a proper 2-person Hollow Knight run would look like, then this is the thing to watch. Shoutouts. I've kind of stopped doing task reactions on my channel because I don't know, it just feels kind of lazy to take someone else's really hard work and just like talk over it and then upload it. Anyway, Yarlik actually has his own commentary on his tasks now, so you should go watch those. Anyway. Now, how do I connect this to the next segment?
In a world where speedrunners demolish video games in mere minutes, one multiplayer speedrun stands out above the rest. Get ready to test your IQ over 48 mind-boggling puzzles, because Portal 2 is a very cool video game.
Oh, hey, thanks, Sushi. I appreciate that. Well, now you know that Portal 2 is a very cool video game. While Hollow Knight's 2-player runs explicitly break the intended single-player experience, that's not the case for every multiplayer speedrun. In Portal 2's co-op campaign, the puzzles are intricately designed to require 2 portal guns to complete. What I find really interesting about Portal speedruns in general is that it's usually a very strong back and forth between completely breaking a level and just doing it the intended way really quickly. Both sides of that spectrum somehow feature the same amount of depth. It's a masterful exercise of navigating 3-dimensional space, sometimes through maintaining momentum with intricate, precise bunny hopping and air strafing, and sometimes by attaining zero gravity by glitching the excursion funnels and simply flying to the next elevator, or shooting a precise portal through a crack that wasn't really intended, not to mention all the out-of-bounds shenanigans. This sort of crazy back and forth is perfectly demonstrated in the Portal 2 co-op speedrun. You go from doing the introductory stage in a mostly intended fashion, aside from the crazy movement of course, to skipping to like the 5th level in the menu and just like jumping over half the game. It's great. Now, granted, this is only done in the any percent speedrun. The all main chapters one is a bit more popular. I just think this one is funnier. All of these groundworks stay the same in the co-op campaign, of course, but what is perhaps most mesmerizing is the level of synchronization that is required between the 2 players. Almost every single part of every single puzzle is designed around a back and forth cooperation between player 1 and player 2. To do it quickly, both players must always be matching each other's tempo, placing portals for each other, and most importantly, doing cute emotes together while waiting for the optimal moment to enter the end of level elevator to skip dialogue. If one person messes up even a little bit, it bottlenecks the team's pace drastically. For me, Portal speedruns hit that perfect mark between just being entertainingly broken while still being somewhat comprehensible. Maybe I've just watched too many Sushi videos though. Sometimes, however, there is an interesting phenomenon that occurs when a multiplayer speedrun becomes so cool and interesting that it simply transcends itself. How do I introduce this next game? Oh, I got it.
Mario Odyssey is a cool video game.
Wah! Ha! Ho! Ho! Let's go! Wow! Thanks for... At this point, Mario Odyssey has become a bit of a staple in the speedrunning community, at least on the YouTube side of things. And for this video, I'm interested at looking at one particular run, the co-op run. You see, in Mario Odyssey, there is a two-player co-op mode, where one person controls Mario and one person controls Cappy. In a practical sense, this allows for some slightly more advanced and quick movement techniques that are not available in the single-player mode. Since both players have the joint goal of moving that sweet, sweet, beautiful Italian plumber to the moon or something, I don't actually know, I haven't played this game, I don't own a Switch or anything. This is once again the type of run where coordinated timings between two players is key. However, you don't always need two players. If we look down past the first place spot on the leaderboard, we can see a lot of singular names. These players are controlling Mario with their hands and controlling Cappy with their feet. Now, I'm not gonna show a random Mario Odyssey speedrunner's feet on my YouTube video, and luckily it does not seem like you need a foot cam to submit your run, because that would be really weird. I just think it's really funny. And it turns out most of the runs on this leaderboard are singular players. So we have a multiplayer category that is not run in multiplayer. It's quite, well, I don't know what, it's interesting. 100k on YouTube for Blue SR Mario Odyssey foot cam reveal. Thank you for watching.